Imagine you wake up one morning and everything costs double. Milk, bread, fuel, rent, all of it. But your salary hasn't changed. Your savings haven't grown. And suddenly the money you trusted your entire life isn't enough anymore. This isn't fiction. It has happened before, and it is happening right now. Slowly and quietly. Everywhere. The real question is, when inflation rises, what actually protects your money? Most people think inflation is just prices going up. But that's not the real story. Inflation is the silent erosion of your purchasing power. It doesn't crash like a stock market or panic like a recession. It just slowly eats away at everything you've saved. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people lose wealth during inflation, while a small minority actually gets richer. The reason is simple. Not all assets behave the same during inflation. Some get destroyed, some survive, and a few quietly grow in value. Let's start with gold. Gold is not just a shiny metal. It is what money has returned to for thousands of years whenever trust in systems breaks. Every time paper currency loses value, gold doesn't really rise. It simply reflects the loss in the currency. In the 1970s, when inflation surged in the United States, gold went from $35 to over $800. That wasn't just growth. It was a repricing of reality. Gold works because it cannot be printed, its supply is limited, and it carries no dependency on any bank or government. When trust disappears, gold remains. Now consider land, especially productive land like farmland. This is not about luxury real estate or speculation, but about assets that produce something essential. Farmland produces food, and food is something people cannot stop buying no matter how bad the economy gets. During inflation, food prices rise, land value increases, and the income generated from that land also grows. This is why wealthy individuals and institutions have been quietly accumulating farmland for years. When currency weakens, the value of real production strengthens. Real estate is another asset that can either protect you or harm you, depending on how it is used. During inflation, property prices tend to rise, rents increase, and debt becomes cheaper in real terms. If you own property that generates income, you benefit from rising rents and the decreasing real burden of your debt. However, if you are over-leveraged or relying purely on price speculation, inflation can work against you. The key difference is simple. Real estate protects wealth only when it produces consistent income. Energy and commodities are another powerful category. Oil, gas, electricity, and raw materials are not optional parts of the economy. They are the foundation of everything. When inflation begins, the cost of producing goods rises first, and that increase starts with energy and raw materials. Before prices go up in stores, they go up at the source. This is why commodities often rise early during inflationary periods. Owning exposure to these sectors means you are positioned at the origin of inflation, not just reacting to it. Then, there are rare assets like art, collectibles, and other high-value items. At first, these may seem like luxury purchases, but at the highest level, they function as portable stores of value. They are scarce, globally recognized, and exist outside the traditional financial system. A high-value painting or collectible does not depend on interest rates, currency stability, or stock markets. It simply exists as an independent store of wealth. During times of uncertainty, wealth often moves into assets that are scarce, portable, and outside institutional control. Another important factor is geographic diversification. Inflation does not affect every country in the same way. Some currencies weaken faster, and some economies handle inflation better than others. Wealthy individuals do not keep all their money in one country or one currency. They spread their wealth across different regions, currencies, and systems. This way, if one system fails, they are not trapped within it. History has shown this pattern repeatedly in countries facing economic crises, where those who moved their wealth early were protected, while others were left exposed. If you step back and look at all these assets, a clear pattern emerges. They are all real, scarce, and independent of financial promises. Inflation does not destroy everything. It mainly destroys cash, fixed income, and assets that rely entirely on trust. At the same time, it transfers value into real assets, some productive systems, and things that cannot be easily created or manipulated. This is not about predicting a collapse or timing the market. It is about understanding how systems behave over time. Inflation is not random. It follows patterns, and those who understand those patterns position themselves differently. The real question is not whether inflation will happen, but where your money will be when it does. In a world where the value of money is constantly changing, awareness and understanding may be the only real advantages you have.